Hello, Professor Henderson, and to my fellow classmates, hello to each one of you. My name is Curtis, and I'm here to make my presentation on anti-intellectualism and its impact on the church. Not only am I here to present that video, but I'm also here to offer suggestions on how we can correct these imbalances within the church. Based on the book Love Your God with All of Your Heart by J.P. Moreland, the two products of anti-intellectualism that I chose are misunderstanding of a faith's relationship to reason and the spawning of an irrelevant gospel. The first one, a misunderstanding of faith's relationship to reason. J.P. Moreland states our treatment of faith and reason are as polar opposites. However, it is my belief that they should work as one or work hand in hand together, and I believe that's also what J.P. Moreland expresses as well. This has infiltrated our churches negatively due to how we understand faith to be. We understand faith to be something that is blind or lacking evidence. Basically, it is a belief without knowledge. I took the time to listen to Professor Henderson's lecture on faith and reason, and he quoted Hebrews 11, verse 1. He mentioned after reading the scripture or quoting the scripture how the Old Testament saints trusted and believed the promises of God. Even despite some of those promises which were given to them, they may not see within their lifetime. However, what sticks out to me going down a little bit within that same chapter, Hebrews 11, and hopefully this doesn't sound like a sermon, not trying to preach to anyone, verse number 11 of chapter 11 of Hebrews, of how Sarah was able to believe that she would have a son based on what God had promised her. In that verse, it says that she judged God to be faithful who had promised. To me, this is a perfect example of both faith and reason working together. She was able to believe on the evidence of who God was and what he had said to her. That, again, is faith and reason working together. My second subject, the spawning of an irrelevant gospel. This is based on the gospel being shared primarily as a means of addressing needs and or feelings. This is negatively impacted in our church, or this negatively impacts our church because it causes us to present a marginalized gospel. A gospel that we know should not be marginalized. That is not the case at all, or it shouldn't be the case. There are many who we encounter, you and I, we all encounter these persons, whether in our church, in our community, on our jobs, who may think that they have no need of Christ. They may also feel like they have no need of a feeling or emotion, or basically that they are not experiencing anything in life that would trigger some emotion, that would trigger some need or feeling of needing Christ. Be it their lack of need or feeling, every person has a need of and for Christ. Again, I don't want to preach to anyone, but in 1 Timothy, the 2nd chapter, verse number 4, Paul says God has a desire that all men be saved and to come to the knowledge of truth. After realizing these two products, or choosing these two products, I think that we can correct these imbalances based on we as leaders, or our leaders overall, being very proactive in training leaders and training lay leaders to be effective apologists, those who would contend for the faith. Reading in chapter number 3, Mr. Moreland, or the author Moreland, J.P. Moreland, he gives us the mind's role of transformation. He gives 5 ways of doing that, but 3 of them that stick out to me, which are the very first 3. The content of belief. It is basically the what, giving us the substance. I do believe we as church leaders, ministry leaders, lay persons, We need to be very educated on what we're offering. Nothing watered down, nothing that would trigger a feeling or emotion, but basic gospel, or the gospel plainly, not in persuasive words, but giving them intellectual gospel. Also, the strength of belief. That was the second thing that Mr. Moreland talked about, how much I believe it. I believe that if we are presenting something with substance and we are very strong in what we believe, not being combative, but being confident in what we believe, we are able to correct that imbalance as well. The last one is the centrality of belief, the importance of my belief. Not only should it be the content or what I believe, but it also should be how much I believe it, but it should be my center of the center of what I believe, excuse me. Basically, it is causing me to act on what I believe. And I believe also that people are watching us, not so much what we say, but also how we live. So these are the reasons or the ways that I believe that we can change these imbalances, that our churches should be more intentional about our education programs, Sunday school, Bible study, cell groups. These are ways that we can actually help and be more intellectual, not so much based on a feeling, but based on our knowledge of what we present, and that is presenting the gospel. Thank you.